Remember that video with Donald Trump where they were talking about the potential housing crisis back in 2007, and Donald Trump said that he was looking forward to a housing crisis because he could turn around and make a bunch of money on it? Well, it looks like Donald found a comrade in arms, because the person that he's picked to be the Secretary of the Treasury is Steve Mnuchin. Mr. Mnuchin was one of those guys who made a ton of money because of the housing crisis. Specifically, what he did was, there was a bank that was in trouble. He and his buddies bought the bank. The government gave him a guarantee against losses. He turned around and foreclosed on about 37,000 mortgages. After that was done, he turned around and sold the bank back to the government for a profit. Check this one out.
When the mortgage crisis hit in 2008, when banks started collapsing under the weight of the terrible mortgage scam they had been getting rich off for years with no regard for the knock-on consequences, when the crisis hit and Wall Street started to crater and firms started to collapse and the economy started to go off a cliff and everybody else was trying to figure out what we could do to save the economy, there were a few really rich guys who looked around at that ongoing nuclear economic disaster and thought, I bet I can make a buck here. One California billionaire decided he would make his buck in the great financial catastrophe of 2008 by getting together with a few other billionaires and buying one of the banks that had collapsed. And once they had that bank, they then proceeded to kick 35,000 families out of their homes before selling that bank back to the government at a profit. There were a lot of villains in the financial crisis and its aftermath. Not all of them were villainous enough to get their own Bel Air mansions picketed by throngs of angry people who were being thrown out of their homes. But that was what happened in 2008. It was his 23,000 square foot, $26 million Bel Air mansion set upon by angry protesters. The protests eventually waned, though, and more recently, that same guy has been popping up at Trump Tower. A lot. And as of tonight, NBC News reports that that guy, his name is Steve Mnuchin, is being tapped by President-elect Donald Trump to be our nation's new Treasury Secretary. And this officially means that nobody is allowed to call Donald Trump a populist anymore. This ex-Goldman Sachs, the hedge fund billionaire, a guy who's literally described in headlines as a foreclosure machine. That's who Donald Trump is putting in charge at Treasury. Drain the swamp, baby. I mean, Democrats are not in any position to put up much of a fight about anything right now in Washington, but it is possible to believe that Mr. got picketed for kicking 35,000 families out of their homes. It's possible to believe that he might encounter more widespread opposition than the new administration is counting on. We'll see. Watch this space.
Yeah, we'll definitely see, because there's the Democrats, if they decide to put up a fight against anybody, this may be one of the main ones, and there's going to be at least 2 or 3 people that they're going to put up a fight for. But this guy, the people should put up a fight against this guy, because he is a money-grubbing turd, just like his boss.